Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in this time, and also welcome as I find myself at the BRL International Racetrack. This is Julian Battisani speaking, and today we'll review the recent GRAN Brick exhibition race, where 12 drivers went head-to-head over 20 laps with the Sumaga fleet of vehicles, which will be used in upcoming events. This race also marked the opening of the season, meaning many new things are coming up. But let's not get distracted. Let's see how this race unfolded. On the starting grid, the drivers gathered to review the rules with the PROTON team, while the cars were finishing preparations and the crowd watched eagerly. After a few minutes, with everything clear, the drivers were ready to kick off this race. But let's not forget that this is brought to you by PROTON TV and the Brickadia Racing League. The starting order was the following, with each driver's respective number. At the beginning of the first lap, the start was clean, with Mason and Kinder trying to take positions quickly, but they were caught by surprise in the first corner when a bottleneck caused multiple crashes. A perfect opportunity for Tanknator number 15 to take the lead and leave everyone behind, followed closely by Harry and Kinder, who managed to maneuver through the corner and hold their spots. Later, Hexados and Hieyu collided in the second corner, sending them flying through the air. Fortunately, the Sumaga model is reinforced with high-quality plastic bricks, preventing the cars from breaking apart and causing accidents from loose pieces on the track. At the end of lap 1, Harry had lost his position while Tanknator continued leading, until Susie managed to overtake in the corners and hold second place, right on number 15's tail. By the second lap, Tanknator lost control of his car, giving Susie, number 8, the chance to take the lead, followed by Harry. They stayed in front for 2 more laps while Mason steadily closed the gap, pushing through the field and gaining several positions. Meanwhile, Pac, number 6, along with Dandy, were among the first to make their pit stops, sticking to a strategy that could help them later in the race. On lap 4, Susie decided to pit, handing the lead to Harry, who already had a lap advantage over Dandy at that point. Blue Jay, Tanknator, and Kinder also went into the pits, Kinder needing an emergency refuel. By the end of that lap, Susie had already reduced the gap with Harry, just a few corners away from closing in on number 3. At that moment, Harry entered the pits to secure an advantage for the coming laps, but he forgot to apply the handbrake and his car rolled down the pit lane without a driver. Luckily, no one was injured. Midway through lap 5, Hexados number 9 forgot to monitor his fuel and his car stalled in the middle of the track, costing him a lap and forcing him back to his garage. By this point, Susie was in the lead, while Mason had overtaken Harry and held second place for the lap. Completing lap 7 and entering lap 8, Hexados was recovering his time, but Susie was close to lapping him. Meanwhile, Mason was still closing in on Susie. Pac and Kinder stayed consistent, trying to get closer to the leaders. By the end of lap 8 and into lap 9, Mason was just meters behind Susie. Meanwhile, Dandy had lost the motivation to continue, questioning whether his destiny was to be a lawyer or a finance expert. Mason, however, overtook Susie, who lost control in one of the final corners. On lap 10, Dandy's existential crisis disrupted Mason's pit entry, but Mason quickly recovered, going wheel to wheel with Susie. What they didn't expect was Harry quietly advancing to regain his position. By lap 11, Susie retook the lead, while Mason kept fighting for first and Harry tried to close the gap. By lap 13, Mason rolled over in a corner, giving Susie the chance to extend their lead. At the start of lap 14, Tank and Hugh were fighting for a podium spot, but crashed before the turn, allowing Mason and Harry to overtake them in the tunnel. On lap 16, Hiyu and Kinder had fallen far behind, one lap down from the leaders. At the end of this lap, ace number 14 decided to abandon the race due to mechanical problems. By lap 17, Puck and Blue Jay were closing in on the top 3, while Hexados flipped in the pit lane, losing precious time with only 3 laps to go. At the start of lap 18, Mason held steady, while Susie made one last pit stop attempt to gain an advantage in the final laps. Harry used this chance to overtake her and secure second place, just behind number 16. By lap 19, Mason was running dangerously low on fuel, perhaps a risky gamble to finish the race. In the final lap, Susie and Harry battled fiercely for second place, while Mason had already secured his lead after gaining distance from both. He crossed the line as the winner, followed by Susie and Harry in second and third, separated by only a few centimeters. The final results were Mason in first place, followed by Susie and Harry in second and third, who both showed excellent performance throughout the race. In fourth came Blue Jay and fifth Peck, who, despite missing the podium, remained consistent across the 20 laps. In sixth and seventh, Hiyu and Nautilus, who had shown promise of battling for fourth and fifth but eventually fell behind in later laps. In eighth and ninth were Tanknator and Hexados, who started strong but lost ground as the race went on. Finally, in 10th place, Kinder, who fell back in the early laps and couldn't recover by the end. In 11th and 12th were Dandy and Ace, who didn't finish the race. We hope you enjoyed this race as much as we did, and that you'll join us in future events. This has been Julian Batizani, sports commentator for Proton. That's all for today, and we'll see you at the next race.